Our second place qualifier, Joey Logano, driver of the number 22 Shell Pennzoil Ford. And Joey, a solid starting spot for your team in one of the most challenging races of the season. Talk a little bit about tonight's qualifying run, but also how you guys will build on that the next couple of days for the 600 on Sunday.
Yeah, it's a good effort for our team. You look at where we ended in practice. I wasn't too worried about where our practice speeds were, but it wasn't very glamorous, that's for sure. And the first round, I was like, maybe I was a little overconfident going into this one. And we were 22nd after the first round, and Todd Gord made some good adjustments. I made some adjustments on my line, was able to get some speed out of our car, and I think we were 7th the next one, and then second to last. So, I'm proud of my team. Last year, our weak point in qualifying was maintaining that speed throughout 3 sessions. And this year, it seems like we don't have much speed the first session, but we're getting better throughout them. So, I'd much rather be good in the last session. It's a lot of fun to have a car that qualifies well each week here so far. So it's been a lot of fun. We got a couple weeks to figure out how to beat the 20 car. He's very, very fast, obviously. That was an amazing lap they ran there at the end. You hear second place, it's like, yeah, it's great, cool. And you hear how far off you are, and you're like, not even close. So we got a little bit of work to do.
All right, we'll take questions for Joey. If you have one, please raise your hand and state your name and affiliation, and we'll start with Reed.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service. Joey, in a season where the 4 and the 48 have pretty much dominated the 1.5 milers, you don't have a Chevy in the top 7. Is that significant for Sunday?
I don't know how much to look into just qualifying. Those guys have been fast in the race, is where their speed really shines. They qualify good, don't get me wrong, but their speed seems to shine a little bit more. When I talk about those cars, I'm obviously talking about 4, 41, 48. Those cars are the ones that stand out more than everybody else. And I'm sure they'll be fast when it comes to race time. Qualifying is just a different animal. It takes a completely different setup. Qualifying can kind of mask over some of your issues that you have in race trim a lot of times. So I think I wouldn't look too much into it.
All right. Additional questions for Joey? Okay, we'll go to Lee.
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. I don't know if you've been following what's going on at Indy this week, but there's been a lot of crashes and wrecks, and Hinch himself basically said that it was the Indy emergency team that basically saved his life. We just talked to Jeff Gordon, and he brought up how competent he thinks that the group that NASCAR has, their medical teams traveling with or not traveling with the series, but that we acquire from track to track, do a pretty good job. Considering what we've seen this year, primarily with Kyle, and your past experiences, how do you think that NASCAR's emergency team adds up?
I think they do a good job. I think it's always an area for improvement, right? It's safety. We look at race cars and how can we make a race car safer. Well, I think equally we need to look at how can we make our track safety workers better. And I'm saying they're not doing a great job. They do a great job, but how can we make it better? And that's what we do as a race team, how to make a race car faster. I think safety's first, right? That's above that even. It should take, above what we're doing there. So I think, the way IndyCar has it with the same team that goes to every racetrack, I think that's a great idea. I think that's a very good idea. We have a group of nurses that comes along with us and that really knows us personally and knows our background and what we've had for issues before, and that really helps out the situation a lot. But I do think we can always make it better, but we definitely have a great group right now that helps take care of us in bad situations. But I don't think it's something that we just say good enough. We got to always work harder to make that better.
Okay, we'll go to Stan next.
Stan Creekmore with RPMTonight.com. Joey, how much time did you all spend today on qualifying runs in the practice session and versus race runs, and how busy will you all be tomorrow in talking about everything?
Well, I made 8 laps total today, including qualifying. So we didn't spend any time in race trim, mainly because 600 miles, longest race of the year. We got to keep some miles off the motor. We got 2 practices coming up on Saturday. that we're going to want to make some long runs. This is a long run race. We want to make sure our car is good for that. And we have an idea of where we want our balance to be and where our car is because we had the All-Star race last week. So we have a good baseline, and 95% of the cars, I think, came with the same attitude to just say, hey, focus 100% on qualifying today, and that's what we did. We got a good result out of it, which is always feels nice. The worst is when you spend all of practice in qualifying trim, and then you qualify like 20th. That's the worst. So at least we got a good result out of what we did today and the effort we put into it. I think just the mileage limit kind of comes into play a lot there.
Okay, we'll go to Jay.
Jay Pennell with Fox Sports. Last week we saw a piece of tungsten hit Jamie Dick's car and go through the windshield and damage that very significantly and hit him in the helmet. How concerning is that for you as a driver? Very concerning.
I looked at, I hit his helmet, and I seen the roll bar behind it with a cut in it and dented really bad. And that's one of the worst things I think you can see. As a driver, you look at that and you're like, whoa, I believe the penalty needs to be large to the team that leaves something loose and lets a weight like that come out. That's very, very dangerous. That's more dangerous than hitting any wall. And I think that's something we can't look over for sure. And, I know NASCAR has looked in the past of how to keep, debris from going through the windshield and, shooting things at them. And we've seen videos of it, and they've shown us, and you see, how the Lexan windshield, and most of the time with the tests they've done before, it seems like it deflects it, most of the time. And like I said, I'm not a professional at making cars safer, but with the videos we've seen, we know they've worked on it. Obviously, it's an area we need to make better because I don't know if we were ready for 35-pound pieces of tungsten coming through the windshield. I think we were ready for soda cans and little small pieces of debris, not like that. So that's something that makes me nervous as a driver. It's that Iowa going 150. What if we hit one here going 200? Wouldn't be pretty.
All right, George, go ahead.
Yeah, over here. George Diaz, Orlando Sentinel. Last week we saw that Kevin had a hard time chasing Denny down in the Sprint All-Star race. Obviously different dynamics with such a long race, but that's what I'm asking. How do those dynamics change considerably in terms of having to follow the leader, especially in the closing laps, and it becomes a very similar challenge in terms of the aerodynamics?
Yeah, it'll be, it's why qualifying was very important tonight. We want to make sure you start up front. Yes, it's 600 miles. Yeah, we want to start up front. This race is long enough to recover, don't get me wrong, but it's a tough place to make it happen. It's one of the toughest places there is to pass. Having a good pit stall is going to help that a lot. We saw that happen with the 11 car last week. Having that first pit stall got him out front, and then he was able to make that. I look as a great move to take the air from the 4 and won the race that way. It was obviously a great move on his part. But that's something we're going to fight for 600 miles. We're going to fight that air. It's a challenge we have here. It's a track that has a lot of grip. We go very fast. We don't have a lot of horsepower, so we're going to see it challenging out there to make these passes. So we're going to see strategy. People are going to have to take the chance at some point to get themselves up there. Whether you get the reward or not, I think it's just got to be well calculated and make sure you understand what you're doing when you make these moves. Restarts are going to be key. That's when you make the most passes. So making sure your car is good on the short run is going to be important. But like I said earlier, it's a long run race, so it's hard to have both. But as a driver, I want both. I can tell you that much. I want my car to do everything, and that's something we're going to work on in a couple days.
All right, Joey, we appreciate your time this evening. We wish you best of luck on Sunday.
All right, great.